This is Breakfall Nuclear Winter. In the wake of finishing my first run through Into the Dead Our Darkest Days, I was kind of in the mood for another game that follows in the footsteps of this War of Mine. And this is actually a much more traditional rendering of this War of Mine's gameplay. Only instead of being set in a conventional or civil war, this is set in a nuclear war. That's why it's called Breakfall Nuclear Winter. So it is still deeply in early access. They've just barely released it. And so the content is very throttled. There's a lot of little UX bugs and things that make it a little bit difficult to play. And the balance, I think they're still working on it. There's things like food is much harder to get than you would think it should be for the demands that the characters make. But all of that said, I could see a lot of really interesting potential in this game, not just in the way that it replicates what I enjoyed about this War of Mine, but also in the ways that it's innovating a bit with the formula. So let's get in here and try stuff out. So story is not actually available in the current build. You click it and it says, we don't have a story yet. So we're going to go with sandbox. And we're going to choose a couple of characters. They don't have advantages yet. All they got is faces. So we're just going to pick a couple of faces and go. Actually, it looks like the guy I picked did have an advantage. That's right. I think he's got some kind of melee advantage. Okay, so just like this War of Mine, you start in a house, and you've got a couple of characters, a little community that's trying to survive in that house during something terrible. After the initial months of the outbreak, this part of the city has become a sea of ruins. A group of survivors have come together to hide in a shelter and survive the crisis. They've not given up hope of containing the outbreak. Before the fallout, Sophia smuggled guns through the city backstreets, evading rival crews. Her sharp reflexes keep her swift in fights and scavenging ruins. Hardened by the trade, she hauls a decent load with ease and shrugs off the cold. After the outbreak, Brian lost his brother to raiders, fueling his relentless quest for revenge. His fists and grit make him a fierce brawler, carving through foes in the ruins. Built tough, he carries a solid load with ease. So each of them has got allegedly advantages, though they didn't all show up at the beginning. And yeah, we live in this little house with a nice deep backdrop here. And the first thing we need to do is get set up in this place. So each of them is going to go around and scavenge for things. And there's a few little bugs that I've found where it makes it... Sometimes characters will forget the thing that they're trying to do, so we have to keep an eye on everybody. You can see it's very, very similar set of resources to this War of Mine. And, unlike... oops, I just distracted him. Unlike Into the Dead, Our Darkest Days, they haven't really varied from the sort of day-night cycle of this War of Mine. Into the Dead basically made your time at home into like a turn-based strategy decision-making thing, and they got rid of the time limits. This has the time limits from the original game. And so you can see we've got a clock up here in the corner. Oh, dang, I'm controlling him again. Yeah, keeping track of who you're controlling is important. Very easy to make some mistakes there. Okay, so I'm controlling her now, so we're going to send her after this garbage. I did get used to Into the Dead, the fact that you were only controlling one character at a time, and it was very, very clear what you were doing at any given moment. This game has definitely got more of a strategic bent. See, and look, Brian forgot what he was doing. I sent him upstairs to root through this garbage. So yeah, so we've got this first day to try to figure out what we're doing here at the house. And at, I think it's like 7 p.m., it becomes nighttime, and it's time to go exploring elsewhere. So I wonder if Sophia has found enough stuff that I can set her to the workshop. I think I should. Let's send her to the workshop, because to get past some of these obstacles in the house, we're going to need to have tools. Take all of that. And before I start messing with this rubble, I'm going to try to grab everything that I can that's not nailed down. Okay, so he's going to grab that stuff. but Sophia got to the workshop while I was with Brian, and I have to redo that action. So it can be a little bit, you have to really sort of watch these guys like hawks. And I'm going to build the tool workshop. So you craft the tool workshop, you drag it where you want it. I'm going to stick it right there. And then she runs over and builds it. If I interrupt her now, I think the construction will be completely canceled. So I'm going to try not to click on her and instead see what else I can get Brian doing. We're going to go and scavenge this abandoned car. I think I can make him run by double-clicking. Yes, I can. So eventually we'll be feeding people by sending them to the fridge. We'll be healing people by sending them to the medical station. But right now we don't need to do any of that. And now I think, yeah, everything that's left is stuff that I either have to dig to get to or that I have to crowbar my way through locks to get to. So I'm going to start him digging up here while she's working on the crowbar. Note that unlike Into the Dead, the characters have some depth to their movement. Like, if, you know, like this hole in the floor, for instance, I can climb up on the right side only, but I can run around the hole. And you'll find that that's actually true throughout this game. It's got, they take a lot of advantage of the depth that goes this direction, the dimension that goes this direction, whereas Into the Dead often had like uncanny things where you couldn't walk around a hole that clearly had a path around it. They avoid some of that stuff, which is nice, but also it's kind of hard to predict because, you know, when you learn a simple set of rules in a 2D game, there's certain advantages to that, whereas this game, it can be a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes you just have to click somewhere and find out what the character can do because it doesn't have sort of the simplified level design of a more traditional 2D game. All right, so he's gotten through there. Let's see what's in this cupboard. She is making a crowbar so that we can bust through some of these locks. And he forgot he was going to open the cupboard. Got more construction materials. Cool. Let's set him digging through this rubble. I think if we gave him a shovel, that would go faster. Okay, so she now has access to a crowbar because she made one. They can all, when you're at home, you can use everything from the shared inventory at any time. You don't have to, like, specifically equip something on a character. So now that she's made a crowbar, she can get in here and bust her way into this cupboard. I'm really it's getting close. I might not be able to get through everything in the house before 7. I'm wondering if, like, the folks who made this ever had, like, races internally to see if people could actually get through everything within the time limit. Okay, she's going to run over and try to crowbar her way through this locked door. Actually, wait, he's digging through to nowhere. Why is he doing that? That seems silly. Yeah, we could even climb up here. Like, there's no reason to clear this. Well, whatever. He's already doing it. All right. Let's open up this dresser. And we've got some food. We've got some electronics. Now, real quick, if I can do it before 7. I don't know if I can. I wonder if I can make a flashlight in time. Actually, if I can't, that's probably fine. Because you should see the difference between playing with a flashlight and playing without. Oh, right. It's not 7 o'clock where we change over. It's 8 o'clock. So let's not make ourselves a flashlight. In fact, I think there might be a place where I can scavenge one later. So let's just open up this last door. And if I succeed at that, then we've kind of done all of the preparation that we need to do here. Come on, racing against the clock. You can do it, Brian. 15 minutes left. Get through that door. Come on, buddy. He did it. Just in time. All right, it's getting darker. Okay, so now we're going to send somebody out and leave somebody here. We want the person who stays here to be on their guard in case people attack us. This is telling us the condition of everyone. He can carry more stuff than she can. So actually, let's send him out scavenging. So I think that from the descriptions of the characters, I think Sophia is meant to be good at transporting things because she used to be a gun runner, and Brian's more of a combat guy, but I think Brian is the only character they've set up with actual advantages, and I think they didn't give them to her yet. So I'm going to go out with Brian. Sophia's going to stay home on guard. And now I got to pick where Brian goes. So we can drag our way around the map. There's an apartment complex up here. Not spelled correctly, but that's okay. It's early access. That I will eventually gain access to because I've been there before, but I can't have access to it right now. And actually, that's where there's a scavengeable flashlight. There is a police station here, but the police station actually basically requires you to have a flashlight. So I'm not going to go there first. Let's go to the backyards and see what we can find there. And then we decide what Brian's going to take with him. Let's bring a crowbar with us, because that could be helpful getting through stuff. I've forgotten if there's anything I actually need to use it for. But let's go out scavenging. So here we are. So again, this is just like this War of Mine. You arrive in a place. It's full of stuff you can scavenge. There's also potentially people who can catch you that you can get in trouble with. And so these materials here, these components, these are probably the most valuable things that you can find. Everything that you want to craft requires components. And I found myself in my first game of this really, really missing those. Okay, so we've got a person living in a house here. And I really don't want to get into any kind of conflict. I'm not sure if this guy is actually ready to fight me. But, interestingly, so when I first played this, I thought I had to go on set. I thought that was my only option. But actually, there's sometimes different routes you can take into different places. So, for instance, if I do click and this guy's upstairs, then what I'll do is climb inside his house and go up his stairs while he's facing away. He doesn't know I'm here. And I can search his dresser if I want to. And at first, I thought that was what I had to do. I thought that this was the only way through because that's what I did when I moved to the right. And I thought I was going to have to like somehow deal with him and open this door. That is not true, actually. If you click on the rooftop, you'll see that my character goes back down the stairs. By the way, notice this unrecognizable object. That's because I don't have a flashlight. Things that are in the dark you can't see without a flashlight, which is... I don't remember if this War of Mine had anything like that, but I like that idea of a way to take a tool and make it valuable. The crowbar is a valuable tool for getting through, locked doors and locked chests and stuff like that. But the flashlight is valuable because it reveals things that you couldn't otherwise see. There's another one right there. So we're going to keep running around here. So there's stuff that I can scavenge down here on the ground level. But I can also just stick to the rooftops if I want to. And you see, like, I can't see that ladder at all. I didn't know it was there, but I just was like, okay, I need this guy to go this way. So that's what I'm going to do. Though, should I? Well, I'll worry about the car later. Let's go this way. So we're going to search as much as we can, at least until our inventory is full, which is happening fairly quickly. They're pretty generous with the resources up front, though it's a lot of the sort of generic building resources that you get. I'm getting a handful of different things, which is good. Oh, I don't have room for everything. So this is gunpowder, and this is a bullet. I don't think I'll need any of those immediately, so I'm just going to fill up my stacks like that. So I'm actually reaching the end of what I can even scavenge. But, okay, so I'm going to find out, can I go downstairs from here? It looks like I can, but how? Oh, there's a hole in the floor here. By the way, when this reaches, I think it's 6 or 7 o'clock, I have to go. Okay, we don't need weapon parts. Let's see what's in here. Alright, so in the future, if I don't want to take that route along the rooftops, I'd like to open this for myself so I can go and search the abandoned car and move along the ground. I think this is probably... Yes, this is an exit. Okay, so I can leave through the right side of the map. I don't have to go and renegotiate that house with the guy. I think the first time I came here, I thought I had to backtrack all the way. I ended up not getting out in time. And I think, at least in some cases... Ooh. Okay, I've got an hour to get out. I think at least in some cases, if you don't manually get out in time... Oh, have I busted my crowbar? Oh, I'm stuck in this interaction now. No. Crap. Wait, why do I have less stuff in my inventory? Something... Okay, we just hit a weird bug. Something strange just happened. Most of my inventory went away when my crowbar went away and I got stuck in that interaction. Okay, so I think there's a chance because I didn't leave in time, I might come home injured or something. Let's see what happens. So in this war of mine, usually the character's walking to the door when he comes back, but they've skipped a lot of the, pleasantries, which is totally fine. So the night was quiet. That's good. Is Brian okay? All right, Brian's tired, but he's okay. But yeah, he did not get the resources that I expected to get for some mysterious reason. And actually, is Brian... Brian is still stuck in some kind of weird state. Look, he's still trying to crowbar his way through something. Let me see what happens when I leave and come back. Never mind. They haven't implemented save load yet. Each sandbox game, you just play it in a single session. Okay, I'm going to replay the stuff that we just saw, try to get to about the same point, and we'll go from there. Okay, I'm back, and I made all the same choices except I didn't bother bringing a crowbar with me because I didn't want things to get weird. So in my backpack, I've collected... Weird. Oh my gosh. I had a full backpack and some stuff went away. So that happened both times. It wasn't just the crowbar. Is it because I opened this barricaded door? Did I have to use some of my gear to open the barricaded door? Maybe that's what happened. That surprises me. Well, I'm gonna go back to this dresser and grab some stuff that I didn't grab the first time. Wait, no. Now my capacity's full again. What the heck is going on? Okay, this is 2x5 and then another 2. If I open up my backpack, 2x5, another 2. Oh, that's so strange. My inventory shows up differently depending on whether I'm opening a container or not. Well, that seems like a UI bug. Well, let's do a little bit better than last playthrough and actually get out of here in time. And we'll just deal with that. I don't know whether I'm actually going to successfully bring that stuff home or not. It could be because this guy's got extra carrying capacity. Maybe there's something about his extra slots that's bugged. I don't know. But anyway, we're home, and hopefully Brian is now not locked into a crowbar loop. The night was shrouded in darkness. Okay, so Brian... Yes, Brian is usable. Cool. Well, then let's go to the tools workshop. And let's go ahead and use some batteries, electric parts, and components to make ourselves a flashlight. Because most of the stuff that we missed out on, some of it was because we didn't have a crowbar, some of it was because we didn't have a flashlight. And while he's doing that, let's go over here to the fridge and see if we can feed Sophia, because her hunger is rising. So we've got meat, we've got berries, we've got canned food. Let's have Sophia eat some canned food, and let's look at her hunger over here. She's got hunger and tiredness to worry about. So that canned food made her hunger situation way better. She and Brian are both very tired. Brian is going to go to the workshop, and he's going to build a bed so that somebody can sleep. Let's stick the bed, I don't know, in this room with the dresser? Nope, that's not an empty spot. This room? There we go. Okay, Brian's gonna build a bed. No, actually, it might be better if I have Sophia do that since she's already eaten. Ah, well, whatever. And then let's see if there's anything else that we think would be worthwhile for us to craft. So we could make ammunition for weapons we don't have. We can make dry wood out of the construction planks if we want to have something to burn. We can make a shovel, which is good for clearing debris. But I think probably the best thing for us to try to make eventually is a furnace, because it's going to start getting cold. And I think we've got what it takes to do that now. My first playthrough, I did not do this. Sure. We'll place it there. Why not? My first playthrough, I did not make a furnace for a long time, and everybody was freezing and sick. So let's not do that. Let's have a bed here where Brian can rest. And unfortunately, I think we can only afford for one of them to rest at a time. So hopefully we can sleep in shifts during the day so that neither of us is desperately tired. You can see that his tiredness is starting to go down. And if I can get this below half, I'll switch it out and we'll put Sophia there. Now, one thing we can't do is speed up time. We can accelerate to the end of the day and skip everything and make no more decisions if we want to. But we can't actually speed things up. So if I've got everybody doing something slow, I kind of just have to watch it. But you don't necessarily have to. Okay, Sophia is done, and maybe it's time for Brian to get up and give her... Yeah, he's a lot less tired now. So get up, Brian. You go get some food. Meanwhile, Sophia... Yeah, you can see she's acting very tired. So she's going to go to bed. Brian's going to go eat. So one thing I found is that they don't seem to have the cooking system in place. So I've built a stove before. Because, you know, just eating this raw meat that we found is not going to help his hunger as much as the canned meat helped hers, I don't think. And so I suspect that what they want me to do is build a stove and cook things. The problem is, building a stove, actually all it lets you do is make bandages, which doesn't seem like what a stove would do. I need some electric parts if I want to make the stove so we can see that in action. But yeah, that doesn't quite give us what we need. So I'm betting that just like this war of mine, eventually the best way to feed your people will be to collect raw ingredients and then magnify those raw ingredients to more effective foodstuffs by cooking them on a stove. I think that's just not in yet, which is why in my first game everyone's starved. But we've made all the decisions we're going to make. She's going to sleep the rest of this day, so let's just hit finish day and go. So we accelerate to the end of the day. I think that means that she should be less tired. Yeah, she's not tired at all. He's actually more tired than she is because she got the rest of the day on the bed. Okay, so let's still have her guard. Let's still have him scavenge. And because, again, he's got the higher carrying capacity, so anytime he can scavenge, I feel like he should. We could go back to the backyards, but now that we've got a flashlight, I'm going to go check out the police station. So it doesn't tell you that you need a flashlight, but you super need a flashlight to go to this place. I'm nervous about bringing a crowbar with me. I've forgotten whether one is necessary. So I'm going to leave it behind, mostly just because, I mean, I have used a crowbar effectively many times in this game. I know it can work, but because it screwed up for me in the last game, I'm too nervous. So I'm going to leave the crowbar behind and just avoid the temptation. Hopefully we won't run into anything that needs the crowbar, but we will certainly find out. But hopefully, coming to the police station with maximum capacity and a flashlight. By the way, I love the way the flashlight looks. They've done a really great job of making that, just making your character running around with the flashlight look really good. Okay, good. Canned food. That's going to make a big difference to my survival. But yeah, notice something. And this is something you may have noticed in the previous area. My character can run into the foreground and he can run into the background freely. This is not a 2D game in the traditional way that, say, Into the Dead or Darkest Days or this War of Mine is, where the characters literally only move in a plane, or they'll move in and out for special occasions to do special interactions or special motions. But in this game, you really can just click anywhere on the ground, and the guy will go there if there isn't like invisible collision. So check this out. This unidentified object has become a toilet. So we're going to search the toilet, see what we find. Oh, we're hearing alarms in the background. What's that? Got some kind of air raid going on? Let's grab some shotgun shell. Oh! So, this is my favorite moment in the game. This is the thing that I really wanted to show you. Why I've been fighting through the bugs. Why I've been, really intrigued by this. Even though so far it hasn't done a lot that's different from this War of Mine, it's this moment. The fact that when you're playing a sandbox game, there is just a moment where the inciting incident happens in the background. So, yeah, so far it's just been a normal war with this War of Mine style mechanics, but a nuke just went off on my second scavenging run in the background, and I had to look up to catch it. Like, I just loved that. That happened to me when I played the demo, towards the end of the demo, and that's what made me like this game, is that they've got the story of this world playing out really dramatically and visually in the background of the conventional gameplay. There's just something, I don't know, that feels clever and unusual about that I really appreciate. So now you know why you're watching this video. It's because I wanted to show you that moment. Now, it's almost kind of too bad that I happen to be sort of in a level where let's not pick up contaminated water. That I happen to be in a level where there's a lot of obstruction between me and the background. Having this happen when you're in the backyards or in the apartments is even better. Oh, there's a dead body in here. Let's search that and see what it's got. We got bandages and we've got components. Okay, components are really important. I think that I should probably... Now, I'm glad we've got these electrical parts. I think that's what we needed for a stove. I'm going to drop off these materials here to get that. Bandages also seem useful. I'm not even sure what to use the bear traps for, and we don't have a shotgun. So let's get rid of the shotgun shells. Let's grab that instead. And yet, let's also leave the bear trap. If we figure out what bear traps are for, we can always come back for it. I didn't mean to drop something. Let's undo that. Oh, wait, we've got... Okay, somehow we multiplied the bear trap. I don't know how that happened. And we multiplied... I think I accidentally, like, double-clicked, or maybe? Or... I'm not sure why, when I hit drop, it multiplied things. Well, now we've got more tape. Cool. I'm going to not profit from that otherwise. Oh, it's time to go. Luckily, there's an exit out this way. But look, it got all snowy with ash. Like, they're playing out a nuclear blast right in front of us. So now, notice it's -5 Celsius now. It was up in the 20s and the teens before, but now it's suddenly much colder. I think nuclear winter does take maybe a little longer to set in, but, well, I don't know. I guess if the sky's blotted out and night falls and then the sun effectively doesn't come up, well, maybe it is cold immediately. I don't really know. Someone tried to rob us. They came in by force and were armed, but we fended them off. We tried to defend ourselves, but had no weapons. Brian is badly wounded. Wait, how did Brian get badly wounded? He wasn't there. I think they're just choosing someone at random. Okay, Brian's also freaking starving to death, so let's solve that problem first. I'm glad I brought bandages home, though. So, hey, get in that fridge. Eat some canned food. Okay, so now he's fed, but he's wounded. So let's take him over here to the medicine cabinet. Get him shored up there. Meanwhile, Sophia She is... Oh, she's also hungry. Hold on. Let's feed Sophia. Brian, what are you doing? Go upstairs. See, you're seeing kind of what happens here. The characters will sometimes forget that they're doing something. Let's have a bandage. Okay, so she is... Now, notice eating that apple gave her way less than eating canned food does. So I'm going to have her eat some berries, too. Together, they maybe did as much as the canned food. Okay, so we've treated our wounds. We're going to send him to go rest. Oh, look, we can make a decontamination shower or whatever. Decontamination station. This is for if you get exposed to radiation, which is a new thing. Like, you've been seeing a lot of the same stuff in this game that you've seen in this War of Mine. This is a new one. So this is where it starts to differentiate itself in a couple of ways. So we're going to make a stove now. Let's stick the stove over here near the fridge. Wait, is Brian making the stove? Okay, I guess Brian's making the stove. I didn't actually want Brian to make the stove. Let's leave the stove. So during the demo, if you started a construction, then sent the person away from the construction would be completely canceled. But it looks like they fixed that bug since the demo, because I don't think that was ever the intention for it to work that way. By the way, I think Sophia is also wounded. It didn't tell me that she was wounded, but she's acting wounded. And she's also got an empty dialogue box over her head. So, you know, we got problems. And she's going to be taking some time doing that. Now, I don't know if I actually have fuel for the furnace. We should check that out. But we should let her finish this job first. All right. So she's made the stove. Let's look at what the stove can do. It can make bandages. But we need to have herbs with the fabric we've got in order to do it. So she's injured. She's going to need some help. But we don't have the herbs yet to do it. Now, I'm going to head upstairs. Okay, yeah, so the furnace can't be interacted with, and I think that's because we don't have fuel for it. So I'm going to come down here and see if we've got the wherewithal to make fuel for it. If we don't, then we're going to have to be cold tonight. Okay, so we can make dry wood. Yeah, so she's saying we need to build a stove to deal with the heat. I think that's a mistranslation. I think that they said stove when they meant furnace. Okay. So yeah, we're going to make all the dry wood that we can, because I think that this is actually everything we're going to construct during this playthrough. So I'm just basically turning all of my construction materials into firewood, and now you can interact with the furnace. And you can put wood in there. So I'm assuming this works like this War of Mine. And the more wood you put in there, the more that it warms you up. And but then the wood will tick down over time. So I think that's everything we can do today. How's Brian doing? Okay, he's not tired anymore, actually. And it's getting late, but we'll see if we can get just a little bit more rest for her. But notice how hungry they both are. And notice the fact that we scavenged every stitch of food that we could find, and it wasn't enough. Like, they are just starving. Which makes me think there might be a slight balance problem with the loot. Like, I feel like what you want from a game like this, like if you want people to be on the edge of hunger all the time, you can tune it that way. But I feel like if I devote myself to finding food at the expense of other things, I should be able to feed myself. And I think that part of the problem that I have right now with this iteration of the game is the fact that I feel like I can't get enough food. I feel like there's no way for me to get enough food to even keep people alive. And that feels like it's not quite probably where they want things set. But I gotta say also, I mean, the loot, I believe, is randomly generated. And so trying to set things up, I mean, this is a problem that I have to solve on State of Decay 2, or 3. Both, really. Well, no, it was Brian's job on State of Decay 2. I have to solve it on State of Decay 3 without Brian. But, you know, trying to figure out what your strategy is going to be for making sure that loot is unpredictable, but also players can get what they need when they focus. That's a hard balance to walk. You know, the fact that they haven't quite gotten it in this game, not a surprise and not something anybody should be, like, ashamed of. All right, so she, as usual, again, because he's got more space in his inventory, she guards, he scavenges. And now we've been to the police station, we've been to the backyards, but now they've unlocked the apartment building. Now, I don't have a ton of time left, so we're going to go here, and this will probably be our last visit. So let's go to the apartment building and see what we've got. Let's bring the crowbar. Let's bring the flashlight. Though actually, no, let's not bring the flashlight, because if I remember right, there's actually a flashlight you can scavenge here. So let's run over this way. And notice, now we have a Geiger counter. We're going to talk to Jody. Hello, Jody. Can you help me? Raiders tore through my apartment, killed my husband. His blood's still on this ring. I barely escaped. I've heard talk of cannibals around here. I think they might be those kind. Now, cannibals on the second day of a nuclear winter? I don't know, but whatever. One's still inside up on the second floor. I just sit here by this fire, too scared to move. Can you help me? I'll try. All right, so there's stuff that's in the dark. I can't see it, but check this out. There's a hole in the ground, and I believe that if you click around in the sewer, oh, wait. Oh, no. Okay, I thought that I could get a flashlight down here, but I think the place where I found a flashlight the first time I played in here, it was at that spot. So I had a flashlight already, and I got a second flashlight, but it looks like they've put the flashlight in a dark place that I can't get to without a flashlight. Well, that's inconvenient. Oh well, it's okay. I mean, they did have little lights down there, so it feels like, you know, maybe they could have put a little light in the place where you can find a flashlight. So you can see there's a guy moving around up here. This is a bad guy. And I'm not sure I have time to get to him before this is over, but we're going to give it a try. This is a complicated level. It is hard to get around here. Or at least it's hard to predict how to get around here. But, so he's sitting there. Now, can I get to this point? I can't. All right. Let's see if we can get upstairs. Well, I'll search the water tank. And then, let's go all the way upstairs. Now, if I hadn't taken the sewer, I'd have to somehow find a way to get through these. And I don't actually know if there's a way through here. Taking the sewer might be the only way to get to where I am right now. Now, if I had a shovel, I could get through this rubble fairly quickly, but I don't. I need a crowbar to get through here, but, oh look, there's a ladder in the background. I think that ladder leads up into the attic, though. I don't think that ladder leads down to where the guy is. See, it's already 2:30 in the morning, just with the small amount of running around that I've already done. Let's see if we can get through this locked door. Now, the first few times I came here, it took me forever to figure out how to get where I am, and I ended up being, like, basically starving and sick. Look, there's a way to get down this way. Oh, hello. Oh, gosh. I ended up being starving and sick. And I got completely killed by this guy. I've never won this. Oh, what are we doing now? Okay, I successfully killed him, but now we're floating in the sky, and I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, wait, can I search him? Is there a place I can stand and search him? Yes. Okay, good. I was afraid he was going to be inaccessible. So he's got a knife, and he's got some food. Nice. Okay, I don't know if I've got time to get back to Jody. Let's see if I can. I'm just going to double-click there and see if my guy can figure out how to get there. It's almost 5 in the morning. I wonder actually if running all the way through the sewer is going to be slower than... Okay. Let's just see if we can get out this way. Because again, I don't know quite what happens if I'm late, but I really don't want to try it. Oh, hi rads. Oh gosh. Nope, 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 nope. I thought there would be an exit this way. Oh no! Oh no! I'm slowing down. Why am I slowing down? Don't slow down. Okay. Well, maybe if I had run back through the sewers, I would have made it, but I didn't make it. So what happens to me? Negative 13 degrees Celsius. Okay, shrouded in darkness. But I did get home with some food, which this is kind of the first time that I've managed to defeat that guy and get home with the food that he had. So each of us gets to eat some canned food. That's good. Who's the most tired? He's a little tired. They're both a little tired. Well, okay, he managed to eat. We're going to put him to bed. Let's get her something. Now, her injury is now a lot better. How's his injury? Completely cured. He's a little contaminated, though. So, hey, go to bed, Brian. Finish your actions and, like, characters. Okay, so she's eating a little. And I don't think we've got anything in the medicine cabinet that she can use. She is starting to get a little bit sick. Is he sick? I think, yeah, sickness happens to you because of the cold, I think. So she can take some pills, but neither of them is very sick yet. And we don't have any of this kind of wood. But let's see if we can make some more. See if we can make... I wasn't actually paying attention to this temperature before, so I don't know. Yeah, we can't make any of this. Okay, so we are still in a slow slide towards failure. But one thing I'm very curious about, and now that I've defeated that guy, what happens with that mission? Because I've never beaten that mission before. So I'm going to... See, is he done being tired? He's done being tired. Let's get him up. Let's let Sophia get in the bed. Let's accelerate to the morning. And I just want to go back to those apartments and see if I can resolve that mission with Jody. See what happens as a result of me defeating her tormentor. So yeah, it's freezing cold. Everyone's going to get sick. But I just want to find out what happens. Actually, there's two things I want to find out. The other thing is, I want to find out if any other locations unlock in the map, because those 3 are the only ones that I've ever seen. But now that I've actually made some progress, maybe something else will have unlocked. So we got the apartment building, and you can see there's a haunted house over here. There's a municipal park. There's a city mansion. There's an old paper mill. By the way, when you click and drag the map, your cursor appears in the same spot rather than traveling with the map. And so you end up having to sort of pick up your mouse and move it around. But yeah, I think these same 3 locations are the only 3 locations that ever unlock. Wait, no. There's an industrial complex. I've never seen it before. Okay, that is something to get excited about. But I'm going to go back to the apartment building just because I want to see what Jody has to say. So let's bring this. Let's bring that. And scavenge. So yeah, I thought that was going to be my last trip, and I do have to be gone in like 10 minutes. I got places to be. But I just want to see missions are sometimes the last things that you implement in a game like this, and so I want to see if this thing actually resolves. Ooh, I don't have an interaction with her. I wonder if there's some other thing I need to do. Oh, this is a radioactive place. Oh, and there's some radioactive herbs. Let's get the heck out of there. So is there something about this? Okay, so it says that I need to clear the cannibal raiders. I feel like I already have, though. There was only the one guy, and he's dead. I wonder if there's some other action I needed to do up there. Okay, so now I can search this dead body. And it's got a flashlight. So this is what I found before. I'm like, the only way to find that flashlight is to already have a flashlight. And because only one person can scavenge at a time, there's not really a reason to have a second one. So I'm not quite sure about that. But here we go. Get some fabric. Let's go back up to the apartment and just see if there's anything in the area that guy was haunting. That I needed to find that might resolve the mission. Ooh, there's a fridge. Canned food. Let's definitely take that. Oh, there's a bunch of food up here. Man, see, why are these people cannibals? What's the point of that? You don't need two of those. What is the point of being cannibals if you've got a fridge full of food? I'm telling you. Okay, there's some garbage here. Okay, we are actually going to need some fuel. So let's try to get some construction materials. And something like that. Here, oh, wait, dead body. Maybe this is her husband. Nope. Just a bandage. Okay, well, oh, well, last thing. Let's open this dresser. Now, I'm using a crowbar to open a container. I'm not sure what that's going to do. We've had bad experiences with that in the past. Okay, more stuff we can use as fuel. Ooh, a busted weapon. Let's just use this contaminated stuff. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. Let's get as much of this stuff as we can. Okay, well, I'm still leaving some good stuff behind here. Let's pop this door open so it's a little quicker to get in here in the future. But yeah, I didn't find anything that seems like it would explain the mission not resolving. So I'm wondering if this mission might be either bugged or just, you know, partially complete. They put the mission in to tell me there was a guy, but they never actually finished the mission and gave me a way to complete. Oh, wait, no. It just completed. It was behind my head. You didn't see it, but it did just complete the mission for me. By the way, it's negative 21 degrees Celsius right now. Oh, wait, this isn't even the right way to go, is it? I don't think I can get out this way. Well, we'll see. Yeah, Jodie's just gone, I think. I'm not going to be able to tell. Yeah, I didn't really open a way out. Oh, there she is. Is she moving back in? I think Jodie's moving back in. That's cool. There is a resolution. I guess I just needed to search. I needed to find the dead body and leave the apartment. That's probably what they were looking for. All right. Well, I've got places to go, but I think I've given you a sense of what this game is. It is very traditionally this War of Mine, first of all. But second, they are doing some really interesting new stuff. Oh no, we're wounded. They're doing some really interesting new stuff. The characters are... Yeah, and now Brian's frozen again. The characters are more mobile in the world. There's sometimes, interesting discoverable paths that you can take. They play out some dramatic stuff in the background between the nuke going off, the ash and the snow falling from the sky. And you can tell that they want to play out some really interesting vignette stories in each of these areas, which is something that this War of Mine also famously did very well. So it looks like they're taking the formula of this War of Mine, taking it just a little bit farther in a few other directions, but mostly they're trying to replicate what was fun about that game and sort of give it to you from a slightly different angle. And you can see how difficult that is. I mean, it's not as easy as just looking at another game and saying, I will do all the same things. Doing each thing is hard. And you see there's a lot of little bugs in this. Like, for instance, we ended the previous night with Brian climbing a ladder, so Brian is now stuck climbing a ladder for the rest of his life, and we can no longer play this safe. But it's okay. This is what early access is all about. You play a game when it's not ready. You see, a lot of broken stuff that maybe makes you not want to play it very long, but you also can see the potential in it and what it's trying to do. And so I appreciate that. And I'm just really glad to see that this War of Mine has now finally, after, it's been out for how long? 10 years or more, is finally inspiring a full genre of other games that are taking advantage of what really worked well in that game and trying to take it in new directions. And so, while Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days is definitely a more finished, more polished game that I think did a very good job of taking things that worked from this War of Mine and merging them with new ideas that actually in some ways worked even better. This game is a more traditional take, but it's really cool to see, other developers taking up this baton and seeing what they can do with it. So I wish these folks luck. I'm going to keep checking in with the game as they keep developing it, and hopefully it'll develop into something that is as fun and worthy of investment as one of my favorite games, this War of Mine. And with that, we're going to wrap this up. There's my subscribe button, and here's some links to other videos. I'll try to grab stuff that is like this War of Mine if you want to see more, and I'll see you later.